Hey everybody, we are back with another episode of 11.5 Issues Live. That's 11.5 for November 5th. Make sure you've marked your calendar for Election Day. This week we've been talking to voters just like we have been for the past several. We had the opportunity yesterday to meet with families at Lake Ann Elementary School. And of course on Monday, I encourage you guys to tune in and see what we talked about. But we had an episode on Fairfax Public Access with Cesar, who's on the Herndon Town Council. So today's topic, and I encourage all of you to engage, send in your questions, feedback throughout this video, is going to be about social and emotional learning. So throughout the campaign, I've been talking about the importance of holistic education for students. Not only focusing on academics, of course, but ensuring that their social and emotional development is cared for, that mental health supports are there for them, and that we're thinking of them fully holistically, their physical health and every other aspect. So what exactly are we talking about when we think about social and emotional learning? In fact, about 1/2 to 2/3 of students, of children, according to the Education Law Center, have faced trauma significant enough to impact their development. That's obviously, it could be a result of a lot of different things, but generally it's defined as having experienced events that a child can't figure out how to cope with. So it leaves them with lasting impacts. Why does that matter? Because of course in the classroom, when teachers work with students, the students can react in various ways that may not even necessarily be proportional or related to the encounter that they face in the classroom. But because they come with a lot of that trauma and baggage from their previous experiences, it may stifle their ability to learn. So when we look at the whole child, of course we want to think about the impacts that these traumas have on their full development and their ability to perform in class. It has intellectual impacts, their cognitive abilities are impacted as well, their communication skills. So social and emotional learning broadly speaks to the process of students being able to have self-awareness, self-control, and interpersonal skills. Of course, when we think about their emotional well-being, their ability to communicate with others, I mentioned self-awareness, their ability to self-reflect on their own behavior. All of these are things that are impacted by the traumas students and children face when they're growing up. And we actually see that $1 investment in social and emotional programming can actually lead to what quantifies to be an $11 return on investment in these young people. Where do we see that? So we see that in a lot of different ways. First is student achievement. There are studies that will show a significant growth in those numbers, test scores and whatnot, when students are tended to in a way that is trauma-informed and keeps in mind that holistic learning that includes social and emotional development. We also see a lowering of student aggression and dropout rates when social and emotional needs are tended to. And of course, career-wise, students are better off. In fact, professionals, the data will tell us that 79% of employers favor social and emotional abilities over even intellectual skills. So certainly preparing our kids for the future to be competitive and prepared for what's out there. So what do we do? How does this inform Fairfax County Public Schools and what we want to make sure we have in our schools? First and foremost, we want to make sure we screen and assess the condition and the situation of our students and of our staff to make sure that we facilitate healthy learning environments where folks are, where we handle students for what they come with and understand that they've been through a lot of things and potentially in their childhood or traumas that have impacted the ways that they're able to receive knowledge or to prepare them to be successful. We want to make sure we inform and equip not only faculty, and teachers to prepare them through training and all the adults in the building, because we never want to forget that, but our students, their peers, to be aware of what these things are, to have a language around social and emotional development and trauma, to be able to identify it and then address it and encourage their peers to address it, especially in the middle and high school level. And then of course, to further invest through resources, whether that's public and private partnerships, having those opportunities and facilitating those resources for families to have, again, that language around it, to understand what it's about, and to work with the teachers so that everyone in the building, everyone in that child's life is working for their holistic development, so that we can have supportive, collaborative learning environments where every child is successful and where we truly are able to foster the leader in every child. So send in your topics for next time. We'll look forward to seeing them and addressing what you might need some clarification on.